Welcome, Solarah here. I hope you guys are doing well today. I want to take a moment, as always, to welcome you to this reading. Welcome if this is your first time visiting, if you've just clicked on the video because something about the title attracted you. I invite you to stay and see if there are any messages here for you, and if you're vibing with my energy and what it is I've been sent to share with the collective in this message. And if you really are vibing, I invite you to do the YouTube thing, to like, to share, to comment, and to even subscribe. And if you want to take it even further, you can hit that notification bell so you can know whenever I post. I want to welcome my regulars. Hello, hello. Welcome to those of you who've been with me from the beginning, or those of you who've come somewhere along the way. I really do appreciate the support of this collective. I thank you for all the beautiful messages you left on my last video. I have read all of them. I haven't been able to respond to everything, but I do read all of your comments, even if I don't always get to respond to everyone. The Virgo in me likes to go through every comment and respond, and I have to learn how to pull myself away sometimes, because otherwise I get too caught up in in that. So but I do want you to know that I do read every single comment, and I appreciate the ways that you encourage and build me up to. I'm very grateful, and thank you to all of you who have subscribed already at my Substack. We are just over 100 subscribers strong. So if you haven't already made your way over there, I invite you to do that. I will be providing most of the daily energy reports, any energy writing I do on the present energies, I will be providing for free up until November 1st. After November 1st, as a free subscriber, you still will get access to at least one article a week, and sometimes two. But then my paid subscribers, those of you who pay either monthly or the annual fee, will be receiving 4 to 5 energy reports a week, as well as when I do decrees and etc., other pieces of writing I do about ascension, about healing, about my own personal experiences. I will also be publishing that for those of you who are paid subscribers. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It's really good to be writing again. So it's been a really interesting eclipse season, right? As I record this, it is Sunday, the 22nd of October, and we are 6 days out of the next eclipse and about 8 days into the previous one. So very, very high energy window that we're in right now, and we already were in a very, very high energy window leading up to eclipse, with everything happening in general. Then we had the 10-10 portal. We had 3 planets lining up at 0-degree points. And then we entered into this, we entered wholly into this eclipse portal. And I just did a write-up on this energy on my Substack. And that one is, of course, it is free for you guys to read that one too. It's on the community board. I forget the name of it. It's something to do with death. And it is about this bridge between Libra and Scorpio season, which in the tarot is represented by the Hanged Man, and how this Neptunian energy kind of acts as a portal between the seasons that helps to turn things around for as long as we are in tune with that truth. Okay, so if you want to know more about that, you can read the article. I will be touching on some of it today anyway, so let's get into it. My guides were speaking to me, and they were saying to me that many will awaken from their dream. That was the line I kept on hearing. Many will awaken from their dream. And they went so far as to say today. So there's something quite energetically important about what is occurring right now. When I checked out the astrology to see what was speaking to me, that the main energy that my guides have been pointing out to me has been this 0-degree Scorpio energy. And they were showing me how Mars entered Scorpio at 0 degrees on the 11th of October, so the day after the 1010 portal in the lead up to the first eclipse, which was the new moon in Libra. And now just today, Mercury is sitting at that 0° Scorpio mark, the 22nd. And then tomorrow we have the sun moving into the 0° Scorpio. And then on 11/11, on the 11th of November, the moon will be entering 0° Scorpio. It's not the new moon in Scorpio then, but that's when the moon will be entering. The new moon will be, I believe, at around 20° Scorpio when the moon becomes new in the sign, but it will enter the 0° point of Scorpio on 11/11. So they're showing me all of these, they're showing me this portal energy. And of course, every time the sun enters into a zodiac sign, it is entering into into a portal. It's entering into the untapped fullness and the potential of what is ahead in the energy of that sign. But there's something about this 0° Scorpio energy that they're really wanting to speak about. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that there's some kind of tipping point that's occurring right now. And it's not only, obviously, it's not only to do with this particular placement, but it's the placement that they're using to illustrate this to me specifically. And that is that there's some kind of grand tipping point that is occurring as these different signs enter through the 0° Scorpio portal. Okay. It feels like, and what they were saying to me, it's like the start of like the inversion turning the right side up. So if you've been hanging with me for a moment, you know that I will often say to you guys that the matrix is an inversion of truth. And the way that we come back into seeing things the right way up, that's illustrated by way of the Hanged Man card in the tarot, the number 12 card. So the Hanged Man card is where, if we are wise, we will voluntarily put ourselves in a position where we start to look at everything from an upside down perspective, meaning that we flip the script on everything we've been told is real, and we start to tune in to the possibility that it's not. And that is afforded us by way of many energies, but it is really it's pronounced by Neptune, because Neptune is kind of a doorway into what we would call the impossible. So a lot of the planets support our ability to expand our consciousness past the limitations of what the matrix has tried to program us into believing is possible. So Mercury would be one of the first planets that help us to do that, especially on the regular, because it's such a fast moving, fast orbiting planet. But Jupiter helps too, as does Uranus and as does Neptune. They all have their own different characteristics in the ways that they help us to tune into expansive energies. Okay, so, but in the tarot between Libra and Scorpio, between the 11 and the 13 card, so Libra is the Justice card. The main Libran card of the tarot is Justice. The main Scorpio card of the tarot is Death. And so we go from Scorpio, which is Death, number 13, to the number 14, it's Sagittarius. It does go, the major arcana does go in order of the zodiac, but then it is split up by certain cards which actually represent planets, and because of the planets they represent, they also are tuned into the zodiac sign. So, for example, the Hanged Man is also a card of Pisces, but it's not the main card of Pisces. The reason it's connected to Piscean energy is because it is the card of the planet Neptune. Okay, so if you are looking at the major arcana, just a quick tarot lesson, if you are looking at the order of the major arcana cards from 0 to 21, it takes you directly through the zodiac, but it also gives you a glimpse into where certain planetary energies assist us to get from one sign to the next, and they almost act like portals. So for example, between Virgo and Libra, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So between Virgo season and Libra season, there is this energy of helping us to get off the wheel. And this occurs, again, as the sun moves through the signs, it's occurring, but it's occurring as every single planet moves through the signs. And so every single planet's movement through the entirety of the zodiac wheel, it's one revolution for that planet. And so for us, one revolution of the sun moving through the zodiac wheel is about a year. For the moon, it's about 28 days. I forget what it is for Mercury, but Mercury is the next like fastest moving planet that goes through like the zodiac wheel also. Okay, so there are cycles, and I've explained this before, there are cycles within cycles within cycles where you're able to catch the energies that want to assist you doing this in micro and in macro ways. So for example, when the sun is in Scorpio, that is a macro opportunity, a big opportunity to align with those energies and what those energies want to do. But you also get micro opportunities every single month when the moon is in Scorpio. And then you have, it's a different kind of shade of the energy, but it's still assisting. Okay, and then you have it with the other planets too. Okay, so I say all of that because it feels right now like there is some kind of tipping point or axis point change that is occurring right now as we are driving into the 29-degree Libra energy and moving into the 0-degree Scorpio. And this is, as I was saying in the article I wrote, this is something that we deal with every single year. But for some reason this year it's feeling more powerful. And I think it's feeling more powerful because literally we have, through this eclipse window, the tipping of the axis points where the dominant nodal energy will now be the Libra and Aries. So Aries in the North Node, Libra in the South Node. Okay, so the node shifted in Cancer season out of Taurus in the North Node and Scorpio in the South Node. And as we move into this full moon in Taurus eclipse, now we are actually closing out the energies of the previous nodal positions. And as such, there is something here about, as that's occurring astrologically, there's something that's also occurring for us on a personal level, as a collective, on the globe. There is a grand tipping point. And there is an axis point change. Okay, and what the other message that was really coming through is that this is when those people who have made the matrix their dream through the illusions they were casting and through, the constant energy harvesting, this is where their dream begins to become a nightmare. And why is it becoming a nightmare? Because many are about to awaken from that dream. Many already have, many already are, but then we always have these energetic shifts that allow those of you who are already awake to climb higher in truth and power, and those who are still sleeping to have the opportunity to once again wake up to the truth. And this is what it feels like we're going through right now. So they were saying that for them, the dream that they've created off of these illusions is becoming a nightmare because these illusions are shattering. And for those of you who have been living nightmares because of the illusions that have been cast against you to keep you out of your power, this is when the shift comes that you can begin living and life can feel like a dream. You can feel like you belong here. You can feel like you're in control of your own energy in your life. And that is, of course, always going to be up to how much work you've done on yourself to connect with your truth on every plane. Spiritually first, mentally, your thoughts about yourself and your truth, emotionally, how you are actually living and reacting to that truth, and then materially is like the inevitability of the alignment of the other three planes. I was going to say something about that, and I lost it. Give me a second, maybe it will come back. It was something about the alignment of mental and emotional energies. Hopefully it will come back. It's not coming back right off the bat, but hopefully it will come back. So, of course, when these energies start to shift, this is not like all of a sudden life changes. But what's going to begin to occur, what they were speaking to me, is as the moon moves into Scorpio every single month, and as we move into the next eclipse season, which will be probably occurring in Aries season next year, a lot of the materialization or the solidification or the manifestation of these energies are going to begin to take effect. And then another message was coming through that's for some of you, those of you who are really choosing to rise not only into your power, but to sustain the frequency you need in order to make it a material reality. In 6 months' time, you won't even recognize yourself. You're not going to recognize yourself, and you're not going to recognize your world for as long as you're utilizing the fullness of these portals and this eclipse energy to climb. Oh, this is what I was going to say about reacclimating yourself to your truth on every plane. You are not a fear-based being. You are a love-based being who's been programmed out of that and into fear. And as such, the whole point of ascension is clearing out these fear frequencies on every plane of existence, as far as you're concerned. So when I say that, I am speaking about the grander planes of spiritually, mentally, emotionally, but I'm also speaking about like deeply internally. There's a lot of us who, we think that the things we fear are not the things we fear. And what do I mean by that? Like, some of you are afraid of your power, and you've been programmed to be afraid of your power. We think we're afraid of failing, but we're not afraid of failure. We're oftentimes more afraid of succeeding. And there's something there about the clearing of those frequencies that have kept you in fear of your infinite potential. There have been a lot of frequency fences that have been designed to keep you out, but then there have also been the frequency fences that we have erected against ourselves and others based upon our conditioning and programming, and all of that wants to come down. Excuse me, I'm a lot better, but I'm still like nursing a bit of a cough. So what they were speaking to me about, what they were saying to me, my guides, is that everybody has been in a situation where we've been treading water. This has been the case for all of us for the past couple of years. On an energetic level, we have all been treading water. But in the midst of treading water, we've been treading water for different reasons. There are those of us who are treading water because we were thrown out into deep waters for a chance to learn how to flow with the current of those waters and become one with those waters again, because it's who we are. It's a return home, but it's unfamiliar, and we had to become familiar again swimming in the deep because of how vast we are. And then there are other beings who've been trying to control the waters all of this time, and because of their ability to control us, they've been able to do that, and they've been treading waters because they're trying so hard to go against the waves, to go against the tides, the what's it called? What is that statement? Like the change in tides. That's not it exactly, but I can't think of it right now. But the tides have been changing, and instead of moving with the flow of the current, they've been fighting it. And so there are some of us who've been growing stronger in these deep waters, and we've been learning how to become master swimmers. And there are some, because they've been using their energy to go against the waves, they're about to go under. So we are presently in another one of these sink or swim, I don't want to say it's a portal. I mean, it is, it's part of a portal, but the energy it's supporting right now is who's sinking and who's swimming. And the sinking and the swimming is all dependent upon how you're using your energy to flow through these changes. Okay? So another message that was coming through is that you are retaking the place as master over your own destiny. You're taking back your place as master over your own destiny. And there was a warning that came through also. It says, be careful of who you allow to determine your fate. And the reason for that is because so many of us lost mastery over self because we allowed other beings to determine who we are. We've allowed circumstances to determine who we are. We've allowed everything but self to determine who we are. And every time we do that, we lose mastery over self. We lose authority, autonomy, sovereignty, whatever word you want to use, we lose it. And when we lose that, then we open ourselves up for other beings to fuck with us, to fuck with our energy, etc. So as you move forward, having regained mastery over your own energy and your own destiny, it says, be careful, they said, I should say, be careful of who you allow to determine your fate. And that's on every level. Everything you take in is affecting your energy. Everything. You are literally a gateway system. The planetary movements are gateway systems. This is why I can say you're entering into a portal that Neptune is supporting, so that by the time you get to Pisces season, or when the sun is in Pisces, the state that you have decided through this Neptune portal is what you will be materializing on another plane come Pisces season. For some of you, it will be on the physical plane. For others of you, it will be a complete mental and emotional shift in order to get you ready to materialize it physically. But either way, we operate through gates on this in this reality, and you yourself are full of gates, which is why your heart is a stargate, your ears are gates, your eyes are gates, your nose is a gate, your mouth is a gate, your privates are gates. They're all entry points physically into your energy. Okay, so be careful what you're taking in, because what you take into your gates is what you ultimately allow to program your energy and master you if you don't have mastery over those things you're allowing to enter into your fields. And that's not to make anyone scared. That should actually empower you. And the reason I say that is because, again, you are love-based beings. You're not fear-based beings. So there are things that you have to take into your fields because of the reality you live in, but you also have the ability to program your energy into what it is that you will accept as programming and what you will reject. As I will often tell clients when they come to me, you are a universe unto yourself. Your energy field is your universe, and you sit head of that universe as God. Your energy field. Your energy field. This is where the Matrix inverted it and made it seem as if other beings were supposed to be God over you. And then they even created these fake, not fake energies, but these energies that they formed fake narratives around in order to get you to channel your God energy and your God consciousness outside of yourself. And so the whole point of ascension, the whole point of taking back the fullness of your power, and this is a very big time to take back your power. There's a grand power transference that is happening that is allowing for this tipping point. And these transference points occur at various times in the calendar. The last really major one that I can recall off the top of my head was during Aquarius season. And now we're here in the end of Libra season, and we have another grand shift in power. And that is also being afforded to us since Pluto has gone direct. So, and the grand shift in power is always going to be about you being able to ascend back into that position. And this is what the nodes are supporting with Aries and Libra, because Aries is the energy that is concerned with you being God over self, God over your own energy. as opposed to the narcissistic templates of the matrix where everything outside of you tried to bully you out of that place and usurp your place as being, quote unquote, God over self. That's what narcissism is. Narcissists like to play God over other beings because they're so out of control over themselves, and the only way they can feel some semblance or sense of control is to control other beings. That was that's not unique to people. That is a literal template that the entirety of the matrix was founded upon. And the reason why we are living in a time where all of this is coming out, everywhere you look, you're hearing about narcissist this and narcissist that, and everyone's a narcissist now, is like, nope, what you're actually experiencing is the purging of that energy, because it is the foundation upon which the matrix was set. So we've all been engaging in these energies. It's just to what degree and what side were you on? Because even as an empath, there is manipulation, emotional manipulation that occurs in order for us to get our needs met that take us out of power. And anytime we are disempowering ourselves, we are also engaging in the disempowerment of another. Because a narcissist is a person who is engaging in energies to try to fake their way into power because they're so disempowered. And anytime we give them that false sense of power, by cowering to them, we are actually not only feeding our own disempowerment, but we're feeding theirs too, because we're feeding them a lie. I hope that makes sense. And we're not doing it consciously. Of course we're not, but that's how unconsciously we were programmed and conditioned by the matrix to constantly give away our power. Narcissists are constantly giving away their power too, because when you're really in power, you don't have to control nobody. You're like being God over your own energy is enough of a job and a task. You don't got to do it for anyone else, So another message that was coming through, and this is for some of you, you have reached the point, such a grand tipping point in your own personal experience. So this energy that I'm telling you about, this grand tipping point, it feels like it's happening for the collective, but not everyone's going to be tuning into it right now. There are some beings who've already tuned into it, and they've opened the gate to make it possible for us to step through right now. And there are some people who are rising into it because of all of the healing they've done and the personal power they've called back. So now they're at that tipping point where what was a nightmare is going to become a dream. And when that happens, because they were dealing with energies that were taking them off their balance and the axes are changing, then it has to change for those beings that were doing that to them too. And then there are other people who are still healing, and they're making their way to this tipping point also, because we all must go through this gateway eventually, because the tipping point is what is ultimately going to help bring everything back into balance, into divine order, into stasis. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So for those of you who are at this point where you have done so much healing and you're so sure of who you are and you're living in that reality, not just externally, but internally, what you're going to start noticing is that everything that you touch, it's going to feel like it's bearing the fruit that you want it to bear, because you're back in your own creator energy. And what's going to happen for those who've been falsely manifesting by harvesting your energy is that the things that they're going to try to create using your energy, because they no longer have access to it, it's going to crumble. So what my guides were saying to me is that everything that they touch that once turned to gold is crumbling into dust. And you're going to start seeing this also on a on a global level. We're already seeing it. The ones who we thought were like the titans of the age, no matter what industry that they're in, those beings that they fucked over are rising, and they're speaking and they're exposing. And in the world of the internet and TikTok, where everyone now can speak on things and have an audience, a lot of this stuff that's been hidden, these agendas, the very agendas these beings signed onto in order to disempower and disenfranchise and step on others so they could have a fake sense of grandiosity, those very agendas are falling apart, and what they actually did and the truth of who they are is being exposed. You're already beginning to see it, and this is just the beginning, you know, like this is just the beginning of the materialization of some of those energies. It will continue because, again, we're dealing with a tipping point. We're dealing with an energy, an axis, because the matrix was built upon this energy harvesting parasitic relationship thing. What we're doing is we are separating ourselves and we're becoming autonomous from that. And we are taking our power back. But those beings who are not doing that, who are still trying to tap into other beings' energy, those are the ones who are going to begin to, whatever it is that they've been building, it's going to start to crumble. They're not going to be able to build the way that they were. And please do not be fooled by illusions, because that's a big thing. Well, that's always a big thing in the matrix. But right now, for some of them, all they have are their second-rate illusions. And so at every turn, that's what they're casting. And they're really hoping that you and I and those beings who they've been casting illusions on and utilizing the power of the illusion they had, the spells they cast over us to keep us blind. They're really relying right now on being able to take us back into a state of believing those illusions. And so the illusions right now are thick. And here's the thing. This is the thing about Neptunian energy also. It supports that. It supports illusion. Okay? This is why, you know, as you go through this grand 2020 on my clock, as you go through this this bridge between Libra and Scorpio, there's something that's definitely being activated that's Neptunian right now. And the Neptunian energy in its, you know, evolved state helps you to connect with your divine truth and your divine reality, to pull who you are in the cosmos or in the heavens back here onto the earth planes. But Neptunian energy, if you are not grounded in your truth, can pull you very quickly down into illusion. And this is what they utilize this, you know, this gateway for. It's a gateway or a portal, whatever you want to call it. And they use it every year. This is why October is one of the main months where they do so much fuckery, is because this Neptunian casting of illusions is also what leads us all the way to the end of the month, you know, with their, you know, rituals where they mess around with, you know, Halloween, those energies at the end of the month. This isn't something that they begin on that day. This is something they do all year. You get what I'm saying? And they know how to pick up, because they've been doing this for centuries and millennia. And we're just waking up to how this all works. So, or we're not waking up to how this all works. We are remembering. We are remembering because they took our own systems and they bastardized them and used them against us, which is why these energies are able to provide us with the opportunity to rise into our power when we know how to use them and we're not under the illusions that they've used the shadow aspects of these energies to cast upon us. So I hope that makes sense. So what my guides were telling me is that many of you have gotten your golden age solar codes back. So for those of you who've been through this, like, you know, intense energetic fight through the equinox especially, where it felt like all hell was breaking loose, it kind of was, in order to put you into the new balance that is required for you to gain access to some of this wisdom and some of these codes and activations that you need to go higher. And so for those of you who held your ground in terms of, like, you know, knowing who you are and not succumbing to the energies that wanted to destabilize you to the point where you believed the lie, or you believed things about yourself and your situation that aren't in divine order. If you were able to withstand that, then this gateway is helping you to be born again, Scorpio energy, into a higher version of self. And when I say a higher version of self, it just means you're accessing more of your divine truth, more of who you actually are, that has been limited from coming through into the earth planes because of the matrix fuckery and the programming and the conditioning. Because at every level, in order to reach higher experiences of who you really are, you must overcome the illusions of the matrix in every area where they try to cap you off. At every turn, they will try to cap you off and tell you, you can't go any farther than this. And if you are able to see past the illusion and realize how powerful you are, and that you are a multidimensional being, and that you are infinite, and that you're able to do these things that they told you couldn't. If you're able to connect with that truth and live like you know that, then you blow the ceiling off of the illusion. And you climb and you access higher versions of yourself. It's kind of the best way I can put it. So right now, the illusions that they're casting, they're second rate. And the reason they're second rate is because beings who cannot tune into their own God consciousness to create, beings who can only rely on tapping into other beings' energy and harvesting and stealing through all manner of ways, beings who can do that, they're not original. They don't have any original energy because they're not tuned into the origin of energy. They're not tuned into source. So everything that they do is kind of a repetition of everything they've done before. It might appear slightly different, but it's not. It's the same energy. It's the same illusion. And this is how, when you learn patterns, the patterns that you fall prey to within yourself, as well as the patterns that these beings have, whether it's through the collective fuckery of what they do, using the planets, using, the media, using whatever it is that they use to program and condition us, or whether it is knowing how those beings that are closest to you, that have actually been your watchers and your ops all this time, knowing how they have programmed you out of your power through illusion. For as long as you grab a hold of the basic idea, when they try to cast these illusions towards you, it's almost like they dissipate immediately, for as long as you don't fall prey into, once again, falling into fear. Because that's what they're really trying to get you into. You are a love-based being. You are a love-based being. So at every turn, they're trying to pull you into fear, because that's not your reality. And a person who lives in fear can be controlled. So the more you know who you are and the more you stand in that truth, the faster that their illusions that they're trying to cast towards you, the faster they shatter. And the faster you get at shattering those illusions, the faster you're able to jump into higher versions of self. And then there are times where that kind of energy is accelerated. And whenever there's an acceleration and an opportunity to go higher or to go farther, is when the illusions will be laid on thicker. So the closer you are, or the grander a window is for you to rise or for you to jump, the more the attacks will pick up, or the more the illusions will try to come, or the more those energies that make you feel contained will try to squeeze you. And it will all be in order to make you fear that you're going back, when really it's that Sagittarian energy of the archer, that it might feel like you're going back, but really what you're being positioned for is to be shot, whoosh, way past where you're standing right now, or where you were standing before you felt like you were being pushed back, if that makes sense. Yes. So I think that's all I'm going to do for today. Something I just want to put out there, which I found to be very, very interesting, that my guides were speaking on, because they were saying to me that there's some kind of golden gate that's been open. And I'm really feeling it this weekend. There's some kind of golden gate energy. Those were the words they used. And so they were saying it's like a gateway back into recovering a lot of what you lost through the establishing of the matrix and the fall of the previous, what occurred in the previous golden age. There's a lot of opportunity through this gateway to get it back. And this is something, again, I feel occurs every year, because Scorpio energy is how you begin to birth a new reality based upon the ways that you've healed yourself since the sun moved into Aries, the way you've aligned your mind, your Christed mind through the Aries, Taurus, and Gemini energy, and then the way you have aligned your waters. You've made your waters ready to birth a new reality through Cancer, Leo, and Virgo season. And when Libra season comes to calibrate the new emotional mental fields so that they're in alignment, so that when Scorpio season comes, Scorpio rules over the womb, your sacral energy, you're ready to begin the process of energetically birthing a new reality. And by the time the zodiac wheel, the sun, goes back into Pisces, the materialization of that, well, actually, it might actually begin for some of you through Capricorn season. It starts to come onto the earth plane, sometimes like drastically and sometimes in trickles. You get what I'm saying? But there will be a shift in your material reality that will often occur in Capricorn season based upon what it is you're birthing through this Scorpio portal. And this is how we're supposed to use these energies to maximize our ability to create the reality that we want here on the earth plane, as opposed to, being unconscious manifestors based upon programming, conditioning, wounding. Yeah, I don't want to go too much deeper into that. I could go down a whole other rabbit hole with that too. But what they were saying to me, and I'm not going to go deep into this either, I'm just kind of going to put it out there. Maybe it's a message for somebody, or maybe it's something we'll get into later. But when they kept on saying this Golden Gate energy, I started to think about the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. I think it's called the Golden Gate Bridge. And then I started to think about bridges across the world and suicide rates. And I just did a very quick search, and I was just floored at the names of these bridges where they had these very high suicide rates. Not all of them, had these grand names, but some of them were very much connected to the word crown, to golden, to sun. And I was just like, wow. So these have literally been places where these have been their death portals. So they create their death portals in order to take us to destroy our divine energy through their rituals. When the death portal that opens is actually for us to shed the energies we no longer need that are hindering us in order to rise into our divine truth, which is why this window is such a huge window of sacrifice for them, because that's another thing that I need to touch on very quickly. The Hanged Man in the tarot is a card of sacrifice. It's a card of sacrifice, but it's also a card of sentencing, because it's the card that comes right after justice. And right after you get a verdict in a court, you get sentencing. What's the punishment going to be? The Hanged Man it can also be punishment, but the Hanged Man is also sacrifice. So there you have it. This is a huge sacrifice window for all of us. But here's the thing, the Matrix wants to sacrifice you for its own personal and material gain. But as a divine being, you're being called to sacrifice those programs and those and the conditioning and the spells that have bound you into alter egos, false personas, straw men energies. And they will be doing things around that too through this portal. That's what they like to do a lot of their work on. But here's the thing. Again, as you rise into your truth and as you clear out these programs, you're exposing, all of those things will be exposed more and more also. And this is how they will be destroyed, is through their exposure. And this is why also through this window, I feel like they were saying to me, like I said at the beginning, many will awaken from their dream. The reason a lot of these, the reason any of this has been able to stand is because we believed in it. And so, and the reason why it's still holding on and standing is because there are still people who believe in it. But this is like a tipping point that we've entered where all of that, it doesn't matter who's still believing in it, because those of us who've awakened and have, seen the truth, because we are energetically outnumbering those who are still subjecting themselves or still under the illusions, under the spells. Because our energy now is greater, there's a tipping point where there is nothing that can be left but to drag these energies that are still in illusion, even if it's kicking and screaming, into the light of truth. So everything that's been built upon a lie is crumbling. It's crumbling. And there's nothing anyone can do to stop it anymore. Nothing. It's going to take some time. Yes, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but it feels like we've gotten through this another tipping point in the energy where all of the exposure of this is now like such an inevitability, because the beings who are keeping this alive are about to be faced with truths that they cannot say anymore are conspiracy theories. Yes? So I think that's where I'm going to leave it, because we are 47 minutes in. I'm going to get one card. I'm just trying to decide which deck. I'm going to go into the Sacred Travelers deck. Oh, look at this. Reaching your destination. Look at that. If it's not a portal with a castle, I don't even want to tell you some of the visions I've been having this week that line up with this energy perfectly. Reaching your destination, yeah. Yep. Some of you are literally, like I said, in 6 months' time, by the time you get to the next eclipse window, what this eclipse is pushing out of your reality, you will not recognize yourself or the world that you are creating based upon the deception and the lies and the spells that you have successfully pushed yourself out of and graduated from. This Neptunian energy is taking you forward. What you were told was a dream is not. As I say that, that's my grocery order, so I'm going to have to go. So taking shelter, the answers are within. Passion and pleasure, savor your life. Yes, so you're creating this reality from within yourself. You're creating it through your mind's eye. Neptune energy is really important. I'm coming. Neptune energy is really important for also tuning you into your imagination. And your imagination is how you use your own personal magic by connecting with the imagery in your own third eye and applying your own emotions to bring it to life. And you do that through connecting with the things that bring you joy. Instead of worrying about the logistics of how it will happen, tune into what you want and how it will feel through the power of your own Neptunian energy, through the power of your imagination, through the power of what they try to kill in you as a child. So I'm going to run now. I thank you for chilling and hanging out with me. For all information on how to work with me, the information will always be in the description box below. You can contact me via my website or my email to book services directly with me. That's how I book. And if you would like to donate to the channel or my work, that information will also be in the description box below. You can do so through PayPal. And I will also put more information on how to become a subscriber over at SUBSTACK. So I'm sending you guys so much love, joy, peace, patience, focus, stability, more peace, more joy. Every beautiful thing under the sun that is ultimately yours and is for you to reclaim back as you walk in the fullness of who you actually are, as opposed to who you've been programmed to think you are. Until next time, be well. Mwah.